Welcome to the Fort Wayne Museum of Art's newest program, Masterpiece Series. I'm Charles Shepard, president of the Fort Wayne Museum of Art, and today I'd like to focus on a beautiful piece called Germination by Robin Grebe. Many of you know her work. Before I speak to the work, let me speak to the notion of the investment of time and energy in becoming a master glass artist such that you could produce masterpieces like this. We estimate that it takes 10,000 hours of time in the studio to get to the mastery level. Now that might be 5 years for people that can give it there all day and all night. It might be a little longer for people that have to do some other thing, some other job in between, and sometimes it comes either faster to a natural. But 10,000 hours is a major investment in time. Then comes investment in materials, gaffers, and the process that will enable a masterwork to come to life. Now, Robin not only is a master artist, and her pieces, as we can see, have a master scale. This is the museum's third piece this size, and we have two pieces that are smaller bust pieces, all equally exquisite, but when you're working at this size, it's a tour de force in terms of how you even make it happen. Now, it's a cast piece with some nuances here. We'll talk about the various parts of the casting, but the nuances include interior elements, an interior scene with a three-dimensional riverbank and river, a two-dimensional tree. You have painted background inside this torso, and on the top you have more paintings applied. This is all about spring and growth and, as we say, germination. Now, Robin faces a few hurdles doing a piece like this. For the complexity visually that she likes to have, she's going to end up casting, at least in this case, 3 different sections. The main part of the body and legs all in one casting. The head and neck, a separate casting, and the head and neck will have an almost invisible metal pin that's going to help make this rest perfectly into the shoulder form area. And this midriff and chest all need to be clear so that we can see into the heart of our subject and get the messages that Robin's trying to give us. Now, there are 2 ways that Robin can cast this. She could cast this clear element separately, and then inside the clear element arrange the cast to be able to bring this little shelf of river and land out toward us. Or she could do the painting inside and fill it with clear glass and make the edges perfect so that the fit was right. Now, I think she actually, in this case, didn't pour it separately, and I say so because there's a slight curve, outward curve, in the chest and the abdomen that in a pour, in a cast, would be very difficult to do without the gravity of the molten glass laying it flat. Now, you might do that and carefully grind this down, but you also could do it by casting it separately, but you would have made the mold from the concave section here so that the mold is going to produce exactly with every nuance and ripple in the piece that we're going to tuck in. We'd tuck that piece in, you'd probably sort of pin it with some molten glass and then put it back in the oven. Now, aside from the assemblage, you have the whole issue of how heavy this piece is. Now, together with its base, which also has a steel pin, which goes up into the section with the feet. The base alone is a chunk of stone that weighs 50 pounds. Now, it's great for giving the piece stability, not be wobbly, but if you pull the piece off the pin, you're holding almost 110 pounds of glass. Now, it's all stable, it's solid, but 110 pounds of glass, if you think about having to stand it upright, this is super coming out of the crate till you get right about to your waist. And then the average person has got a problem getting that not only higher, but now you've got to flip end down. So what you're going to do is you're going to need 2 or 3 people. Somebody has got the middle, somebody's got the head, and you can't touch the head at the head point because that's its most fragile point. So you've got the shoulders. You can't come down below the shoulders in installing this piece because this is very fragile here. And given how much the piece weighs, you really got to stay up here in the armpit region. Okay, now down below, that person's job in the installation process is extremely difficult because while these 2 people get it upright, this person down here has less weight, but they've got to guide that onto the steel pin, and it's very tight. So if you're at an angle of any kind, it won't go on the pin. If it goes on the pin at an awkward angle, you crack the base. If it goes straight on, it will slide right down. And we found this out by de-installing this from the donor who gave it to us and didn't know the base and the piece were separate. So all of a sudden, here they are, and one of our guys has her in his arms. Now she's beautiful, she's got a very come-hither look, but still, you don't want to hold 115 pounds that way any amount of time. So we are just very careful. We put enough people on the job to do it. She would have had probably 4 gaffers in the studio working on this, and the color is going to come, as we've talked about before, color always comes from a mineral, and you pick your typical palettes and make sure you have those minerals available. It's going to be in a form of powdered glass called frit. You add it where you want it to go, the green in back, the purplish here and in the shoulders. The amount of frit is going to give you the density of the color and the boldness of the color. Robin likes to control that. She also likes to embellish after the fact with paint, and not many glass artists do that. When I first read about it, I hadn't seen one yet, so I didn't know how that worked. I think it works beautifully. It's a romantic piece. It's a gorgeous piece. It's very subtle, very coy, very contemplative, I think, and peaceful. So she's got to get the final piece out, and we think, final piece, it's going to look just like this. No, it's still going to be rough. Not very rough, but rough enough that she's going to have to either sandblast or grind or sand in some manner to get the beautiful smoothness that she has. Then apply her color. And then I'm thinking that when she's out of the kiln, the cooling off process for something this size is really going to be upwards of 2 weeks. And you don't want anything to go wrong in that. She says to us that we can display it in the round or against a wall. Personally, I like to use the wall to reflect light through her and bring these subtle pieces within. Each of the figures we have has a different story to it, but they all have that same gentle feeling and contemplative feeling, and they're a favorite among school children touring the museum. Just, they can't believe she's bigger than them, and yet she's looking off to the distance. Is that the future? That's what we tell students. That's your future. It's a gorgeous piece. We're lucky to have it, and I'm happy to share this masterpiece with you today. Thank you so much for being here with us. Please come to the museum on Main Street in downtown Fort Wayne. Come in, see everything, but come especially to the glass galleries in the new glass wing and come visit Robin Grebe's beautiful work. Thank you so much.